So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the GoPro Hero 9 from a musician's perspective. Now more than ever, online video is essential for a musician's career. And you may be looking at your very first camera and whether the GoPro is a good route to take. Now my very first camera back in 2015 was a GoPro Hero 4, and the specifications on GoPros and the features have came a long way since that camera. And I in fact still use that camera today for particular shots in my YouTube videos. So a GoPro is a great place to start, and I want to discuss that in today's video with the new Hero 9. Now you may be asking the question, what's the point and the benefits of buying a GoPro when I could just use my smartphone to film all of my videos? Both the GoPro and a smartphone like an iPhone is a very convenient and accessible option. Usually everyone has a phone with a camera on, it's got built-in image stabilization, it can film in 4K. There's not really much too different in terms of the specification, but from a workflow perspective, there is a huge difference. Now, I started off filming all of my videos on my iPhone, but I soon ran into a lot of problems in terms of transferring the footage from the iPhone onto my computer. Now, unless you're running a Mac computer with AirDrop, trying to get footage off your iPhone onto a Windows computer is one of the most tedious and most painful processes I have ever undergone in my life. From my experience when connecting my iPhone to my computer via the charging cable, sometimes my video file footage would not appear. It would exist on the phone, but would not exist inside of the files when I was looking on my Windows PC, for example. And the only way to get the footage was to undergo a full sync process to iTunes, and it was just very tedious and something I didn't want to do, and it just took too much time in terms of creating videos efficiently and quickly. Well, with the GoPro, obviously it runs off an SD card, which means you can plug the SD card directly into your computer and have instant access to all of the files, rename them, and it's a much faster process for transferring footage from the camera to your video editing software. Now, the GoPro Hero 9 has got a new built-in microphone, giving you much better audio quality over previous GoPro models. Now, a cool thing about the new microphone, which you're hearing right now, if you ever use this in a water environment, because obviously it's a waterproofed camera, the water now seeps out and drains out of the microphone instead of congregating in there, making it sound all wishy-washy and absolutely rubbish. So that's quite interesting to know in case it gets wet or anything. When you're using it, it's still going to retain the audio integrity. Now, another reason why you may want to get a GoPro Hero 9 over a smartphone is actually the limitations of a smartphone camera. Now, unless you have something like an iPhone 11 Pro or an iPhone 12 that has the multiple different camera lenses that allows you to choose different perspectives with the camera from different lens sizes, then you're going to be very restricted in the types of angles you can actually get with your smartphone, because with all the smartphones like this iPhone XE here, you have a fixed lens, and the only way to zoom in and out is with digital zoom, which then loses image quality. Whereas with GoPros, you can change this perspective of the lens. So you can have a super ultra wide view, which allows you to capture lots of image real estate in a really small room, like a bedroom, for example. Or you could go really tight and zoomed in by changing the settings on the camera and inside of the app. So from one single camera body, you have lots of different options that you do not have with older smartphones. Now, yes, of course, the iPhone 11 Pros and the iPhone 12s and everything like that has the multiple different lenses, like the ultra wide views as well, which makes it a little bit harder to justify. But if you don't have one of those smartphone devices, then the GoPro is really going to allow you to create more with just one simple camera. Now, fortunately for today's review, we're lucky enough to be taking a look at the GoPro Hero 9 special bundle that includes all of the different accessories that you may wish to pair with your GoPro Hero 9. Now, surprisingly, one of my favorite accessories has been this little camera holder selfie stick, which is obviously designed for doing vlogs for YouTube. You would have the camera facing this way and you could film all of your vlogs. But a way musicians could use this is by pairing the GoPro Hero 9 with the camera holder and placing the camera facing this way and giving it to a friend to walk around and film their performance videos with. Now, because the GoPro Hero 9 has got the new Hypersmooth 3.0, which is the built-in image stabilization, you get some of the best results in the world in terms of built-in image stabilization. This is so smooth, it's crazy. It's better than any smartphone out there, and it's even better than some of the DSLR mirrorless cameras that I personally use on my YouTube channel here. It's crazy smooth, and combined with the camera holder, you can get some really slick shots with such a simple and convenient setup. Now, in terms of the performance with the GoPro Hero 9, it kind of depends on what environment you shoot your videos within. Now, specifications-wise, the GoPro Hero 9 is absolutely insane. It can shoot up to 5K video at 30 frames per second, it can do 4K video up to 60 frames per second, and it can even shoot in super slow motion at 240 frames per second at full 1080p HD. So we've got a lot of versatility in the resolutions and frame rates that you can shoot with this really compact action camera. However, because the new sensor has been increased up to 20 megapixels, which means the pictures coming out of the GoPro Hero 9 are better than ever compared to the previous models that were only 12 megapixels, this has a huge problem for people shooting videos in low lit environments like I'm in right now. Now, it's a common assumption that the more megapixels in your camera sensor, the better the performance of the camera. But this is not true for filming in low lit environments like this studio I'm filming in right now. Now, the problem is the more megapixels you have, the less light each megapixel can receive through the sensor. So for example, here we have 20 megapixels and they may not necessarily be receiving enough information from the light, which means we have more megapixels causing noise and grain in the output image from our camera. Whereas if we have less megapixels, the pixels are bigger, which means they can receive more light through them, which means you will get less noise and grain in the output image from the camera. That was a quick summarization of how that kind of works. Now, the problem with the new GoPro is most musicians are going to be filming in low lit environments because you want it to look moody and atmospheric for your performance videos and your music videos. And I encountered loads of problems with really awful graininess coming out of the camera. Now you can see in this example here, the image to the left was shot at 5K and I customized the settings to be at a high bitrate, flat picture profile, and I also left the ISO and shutter speed to auto because usually GoPro does a great job of figuring it out in terms of the lighting situation. And then the image to the right was actually shot in 4K, but I customized the settings to have a fixed shutter speed to the correct shutter speed of 1/48. And then I also fixed the ISO to a maximum of 800, which is roughly what I filmed with these Sony cameras here. Now you can see the image in 4K looks far superior to the image that was shot in 5K, but the 5K example displays the amount of noise you get from all of those extra megapixels when the camera isn't receiving the correct amount of information. And the only way to counteract this is by overlighting the situation. So for example, I had this huge light bar lighting me filming those little drum solos, and it just lost all atmosphere and still the camera couldn't get enough information through the sensor for a high quality image. However, if you're filming outside, the GoPro looks really, really good. And you'll see this from all of the other examples online and even GoPro's video themselves. When you use a GoPro outside and you use natural lighting, it performs way better and you don't have this issue of the noise. But in a low lit environment, it can become a huge problem. Now, my closing thoughts on the GoPro Hero 9 is that this is a very capable video camera. For just over £300, you can get a 5K video camera. It's absolutely insane the amount of features, specifications that are crammed in to such an affordable and tiny camera body. Now, if you're looking for a plug and play solution for your video setup where you don't need to care about any of the settings and you just click record, I don't think the Hero 9 is for you. I would just highly recommend sticking with your smartphone because clearly that's the quality that you are happy with. Now, if you're looking for something to bridge the gap between a smartphone and transition you into more professional cameras like DSLR and mirrorless camera bodies like I'm filming on right now with the Sony a6400, I think the GoPro Hero 9 is a great way to introduce yourself and bridge that gap, because it introduces you to different camera settings like picture profiles, ISO, shutter speed, all those different things that you will need to be familiar with to get the most out of a fancy camera, but it's at a nice accessible price point and it's really small, and if you drop it, you're not going to break it. You can take it out in the rain and it's not going to get broken because it's waterproof, so it's a really nice way to get started with more professional equipment. And there's also really great benefits that I haven't even mentioned about this camera yet, which is the live streaming capability. So for example, natively with the Hero 9 connecting it to the iPhone app, you can stream to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook at full 1080p HD with just the GoPro and your iPhone via Bluetooth, which is a really cool feature, and it makes it really easy for you to go live in really high quality on social media platforms. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you're interested in picking up a GoPro Hero 9, I'll provide some links over to Amazon in the video description down below. But if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing. But as always, I've been Ben Rowlands. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.